Hello everyone, John Music here, starting a new series. Each week, I'm going to be doing top 10 lists now, where I do a top 10 of some topic, like my favorite fan fictions, or my favorite plays, or some favorite movies I've watched, something like that. In any case, each week I'll do a different top 10, and afterwards you can come and give me input, and we can have a good discussion about it. Because that's what I'm all about here, discussion. So, any case, let's get things rolling with my very first top 10. Top 10 favorite Shakespeare plays. Go!
Number 10!
Making number 10 on my list is The Merchant of Venice, one of Shakespeare's comedies. It is a troublesome one for me, mainly because of the anti-Semitic messages that pervade within the play. The character of Shylock, who is my actual favorite character, none of the characters are likable, but it's a fun play, and I highly do sympathize with Shylock because of all of the abuse he goes through. Really, none of the characters are nice. I think my least favorite character is Jessica, which is saying something, because I really don't like that character. She and her boyfriend. Ugh. But in any case, I do love Merchant of Venice, mainly because of the beautiful imagery. Some of my favorites are the pound of flesh dialogues. Hath not a Jew eyes, hath not he his skin, does he not have feelings? Beautiful piece of poetry about injustice, essentially. The quality of mercy, and so on and so forth. Another beautiful speech. There's some beautiful speeches, beautiful imagery. The golden casket, the silver casket, the bronze or whatever casket it is, the caskets, the Trial of the Three Caskets. All of those are really brilliant images. And just the vanity and self-conceit of the characters makes me dislike the play. That is why it's so low on my list. It's one of my favorites. But the reason it's so low on my list is because I'm not the greatest fan of the characters within. But I still love them. It's still a fun show. I wouldn't mind doing it. I would want to play Shylock, though, if I ever do it. So that's going to be some years in the future, because I can't stand the Christians in the play. I'm Christian, but still. The Christians in the play, I dislike. Shylock is my most favorite character in that play. And now for the next on our list. So that was number 10. Next on our list is...
Number 9!
Number 9 on our list is King Lear. That's right, King Lear. Another play that I like mainly because of the story. Though it is brutal and I hate those sisters. But it's a fun story with good, strong characters. And I love King Lear. Again, this is a play where there's only one character I really want to play. In this case, Lear. However, I do like more of the characters in this show than I do Merchant of Venice, which is why this one is higher. King Lear basically has the titular king, splitting his kingdom up into 3 parts, one for each daughter. However, because one daughter speaks honestly and doesn't speak as a flatterer like her older sisters, she gets disinherited. However, the King of France, smart guy, marries her and they ship off. So that leaves the remaining 2 sisters with their husbands to split the kingdom. Not a good idea. The sisters treat their father badly, and they blind another character. Ugh. It's disgusting. But it's a fun show, and there's some brilliant speeches and brilliant scenes. So, I have to say, I prefer it. So, that's all that. Yeah. So that's number 9. Let's move on to number 8.
Number 8!
The Scottish play. That's right, number 8. 8 is the most infamous of Shakespeare's plays, Macbeth. I'm very superstitious about that. After this, I'll probably be spinning around 3 times and spinning over my shoulder. Any case, it is probably one of my favorites. It's actually what developed my love of Shakespeare. I've performed in it once when I was a small boy. I must have been 11 years old at the time. And I played Banquo, and it was one of the most fun shows I've ever done. So, there were some parts I didn't like about that production, but that's besides the point. Any case, it is one of my favorite plays. I like a lot of it in it. It's not my top, but it's one of my favorites. I like it a lot. I like it more now than I did as a kid in some ways. I wouldn't mind playing any of the characters in it. I want to play Banquo again. I want to play Macbeth. I want to play the Scottish King. Duncan when I'm older. There's a lot of characters I'd like to play in it. The plot's pretty shallow and simple enough, but it's fun. It's a fun show. So yeah. Now let's go on to see number 7.
Number 7.
Number 7 is Measure for Measure. This is one of the plays that is on my I really want to do list. I love this basic storyline of Isabella and the bed trick and her brother trying to save her brother and the cruel brother. And the Duke Vincentio is fun. I like his character. He's my favorite character. I would play him. He's the one role I want to play in that, besides Aeschylus, the advisor. But I love the characters in it. The characters are interesting. The show is interesting. The story is interesting. I love this play. I have some ideas on how I would do it personally if I were to perform it and direct it. But that's another day. But this is one of my favorite plays. It's one of his darker comedies, as it were. But I love it. It's a problem play, but I love the story. I love the story. I hate Angelo, but I love this story. So yeah, that's Measure for Measure. That's why it's number 7. That's why it tops the Scottish play and all of the others so far. And we're getting into some of the really fun ones. So, I will see you in part 5, in 5.
Number 6.
Coming in at number 6 on our list is Hamlet, Prince of Denmark. That's right, I have this one on my list. The broody Prince of Denmark is probably one of my favorite Shakespeare characters in tragedy. I actually got to play him once in the Act 5 scenes during a Shakespeare camp, and again, it holds a very dear part of my heart. He's one of the characters that I'd love to play again. I do enjoy Polonius. I like Laertes. I wouldn't mind playing Claudius or even the Ghost King or Player One, which I've also played. But it's one of those shows that I would love to do again. I would love to do it properly, actually. I'd love to play Hamlet all the way through. It is a fun show, fun story. I just adore Hamlet. He's one of my favorite characters, even though he's a bit of a jerk at times. So yeah, this comes in at number 6, which is amazing that it's not in my top 5. But the top 5 are really close, and this is actually really close to those top 5 too. The top 5 come in within hairs of each other, and it was really hard to place them in the order that I did. I mean, it was easier for some of these lower ones, but this is where it gets difficult for me. So yeah, coming up, the actual number 5. Go.
Number 5.
Here we are at number 5, and we're at the halfway point with Henry V. That's right, Henry V is number 5 on my list. I like that. It's funny. Any case, I love this play. I love its story. I love its characters. Admittedly, Henry V is probably the only character I'm interested in playing at this point in my life, though there are many good characters in this play. I will say that. I wouldn't mind playing any of them, really, but I love Henry V. He is a manipulative, scheming, little, brilliant man, and he's probably my favorite character English king in the histories. So just to give you an idea, Henry V is my favorite English king, based on Shakespeare's plays. So I do love my Richard III, but that's a different story. In any case, this is probably one of my top 10 plays I want to do, I want to be in it, and I want to be Henry V. So yeah, that is Henry V. Tune in for the next round of it, which is number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4 is Twelfth Night. That's right, Twelfth Night. Now, you've all heard me talk about how much I love Twelfth Night. I love... My favorite characters that I want to play are Orsino, Festi. I wouldn't mind playing Sebastian. Sir Toby Belch I wouldn't mind so much. I love this play way too much for it to be healthy. And I could go on and on talking about how much I love this play. In fact, it's amazing that it's number 4, because I really do love this play. However, I was just barely able to squeeze 3 others above it. And that's why it's number 4. As well as the fact that I'm not a big fan of the mistaking identity plot. I do like it better in this version, because I think it's funnier in this version. But it's still not my favorite kind of plot device. I hate it in actually my least favorite, Comedy of Errors. But that's another story. In any case, here you have a great play. It's a fun play, and I love it. But there are 3 plays that just rank a little bit higher for me. And yeah, 3 plays that rank just a little bit higher than me for me. So yeah, that's this one. Going on to number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3 on the list is The Tempest. That's right, The Tempest. One of my favorite plays that I remember from early on. I wouldn't mind playing Ferdinand in it, but my real dream role in this show, this story that I absolutely love, the character that I identify with the most, is Prospero. I love Prospero. Prospero is one of my favorite characters in the play and in Shakespeare in general. I love Prospero. I love the character. I love everything about this play. The storyline, the shipwreck, the magic. It's just amazing. Which is why it makes number 3 on my list. That is why I love this play. So yeah, that is The Tempest. Let's move on to number 2, and then a quick little bit of honorable mentions before we go to number 1. So now it's time for number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2 on my list is Pericles, Prince of Tyre. That's right, I have a bit of an odd one here, a more obscure one that I happen to love. I love the story of this play, how it interconnects and interweaves and intertwines and flows beautifully. I love the character of Pericles. He's probably my favorite character in the play. The one character that I really want to play, besides maybe Helicanus and Simodes. But as a general rule, I love this play. I think it's highly underrated. It's one of his... it's a hidden gem, and I mean, it is a compilation work. He worked on it with someone else, yes. But still, that doesn't make it bad. It makes it good. I love it. It works well. It flows and intertwines, and it is a beautiful piece. One of my absolute favorites, without a doubt. I love this story. I love the characters. It is a no miss. So, we have had Pericles, The Tempest, Twelfth Night, Pericles, The Tempest, Twelfth Night, Henry V, Hamlet, Measure for Measure, the Scottish play, King Lear, The Merchant of Venice. Runners-up, by the way, are A Midsummer Night's Dream is another really good one I like. I just didn't get on this list. It's probably at about level 10. Number 10. Number 10, 11. and it got really close to being put on the list. I just didn't put it on it for whatever reason. Oversight on my part. And then that's the only really one I can think of at the moment. There may be others. As You Like It is another good one. Richard III is another runner-up. So in any case, now let us go to number 1. Drum roll, please.
Number 1.
Much Ado About Nothing is number 1. That's right, everyone. My favorite Shakespeare play is Much Ado About Nothing. I just love it, especially the Beatrice and Benedict story plot line. That is probably my actual favorite part of it. I don't like Claudio so much. I like Don Pedro. Don Pedro's pretty cool. I like Leonardo. Claudio is meh for me. His character annoys me. And the whole Don John plot annoys me. But I love Benedict. I love Beatrice. Probably my 2 favorite characters in Shakespeare. Probably. I just love them. They're just great, fun, witty characters. My top 10. This is my top 10, and I love Much Ado About Nothing. It's probably my favorite. I would love to do this play as Benedict. I already have the facial hair for it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Any case, that is my favorite play. So there you have it. My top 10 for my favorite Shakespeare plays. Stay tuned and see you next week when I delve into another well-beloved topic for my next top 10. See you then!